If you Google right now red light therapy beds, are the first few images you see. They just put some bulbs, they put some strip lights, and then just call it red light therapy.
The biggest misconception that I've seen so far is that people think they're going to get burned or get really sweaty.
One bed has the opportunity to bring in $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. He started collecting revenue within a week or two of buying the bed, but they're probably already listening to Joe Rogan and they're doing red light therapy somewhere else.
If you envision a red light like a pressure washer, at the tip of the pressure washer, that's where the water is the most intense, but the further you go out, the weaker the stream is.
All right, welcome to the Unfiltered Podcast. Today I have Kyla and Daniel from Body Balance System, one of my clients, amazing company manufacturing red light beds here in Las Vegas. And we're just going to talk about the business, red light therapy, and what's good, what's bad in that industry right now, and what's really working for businesses who wants to add red light therapy to their portfolio and start generating passive income from that. Guys, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, likewise. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Kyla, I'm going to start with you first. Sure. What's something people believe that about red light that is completely wrong right now?
I think the most common is that it can burn you and you're going to get hot. I think a lot of people confuse it with like infrared saunas. Which sure uses red light, all of that. But that's not the point of red light therapy. At the end of a session, you may feel a little warm because you are around lights. But that's the biggest misconception that I've seen so far is that people think they're going to get burned or, get really sweaty. Yeah, right. You don't need any of that. This isn't a tanning bed.
Cool. Yeah, I can see that. I can see how that can be confusing. Daniel, a question for you. What do you think is the biggest mistake when it comes to business owners and clinic owners just trying to generate more revenue for their business with red light? What do you think is the biggest mistake they make?
Yeah, I would say just cutting corners, right? I was talking to someone today and she got excited about red light and ended up buying some red light therapy mats. And, day one, it's awesome, right? But then day two, those mats just get beat up and, it doesn't give full coverage. So, you kind of regret that purchase when you realize there's a lot of other products that are red light therapy based that just give, way more bang for your buck. And it's just a better product for your clients or your patients.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why is it that devices like mats and stuff like that don't work?
Well, it's all about proximity, right? The closer the red light is to the skin, the more effective the treatment's going to be. So a mat, right? If you're laying on the mat, theoretically, you're going to get, close proximity. But then, the rest of your body, right? The top layer of your body, your face, right? Your stomach, you're not getting, the rest of your body. So I think a lot of people just underestimate that, distance matters with red light therapy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kyla, question for you. If somebody came in and said red light therapy is just another gimmick, what would you tell them?
Ooh, I've gotten this one a lot of moderating our social media comments. I would say, I can understand the skepticism. I think being a skeptic is a healthy and needed thing, especially in the industry. But that said, we would not provide a product that wasn't science-backed. And, we fully believe in the science of red light therapy and all of the proof. And yeah, it's a new thing, right? Like everyone's still kind of learning about it, figuring it out. Other industries are trying to get into it as well. So I understand why people would be nervous about it. But at the end of the day, it's all science backed. And, if it's good enough for NASA, then it's good enough for everybody. I think NASA is like the top tier, right? And so I think, we see all these fads and these trends, and it is easy to have that mindset when you see all of these cheap products like on Amazon or AliExpress or whatever, like, you think it's a fad. And, to some extent it can be, but not medical grade red light therapy that we offer. We've done our work. Yeah. And I promise we are not a fad.
What's the difference in between a high quality product like you guys provide and let's say just a cheap strip light from Amazon?
The lights, the diodes. So we manufacture everything in-house in our facility here in Vegas. And we have everything from the circuit boards that the lights go on. We put those lights on the circuit board and then we send it through productions to build our products. Everything that you see online, they are very low power, low quality, probably use strip lights. And strip lights, on average, I would venture to say probably measure about 2 to 3 milliwatt centimeters squared. And for any effective red light therapy treatment, you need at least 30 milliwatt centimeters squared. And it's also the power too. I mean, think about it this way. You have a red light therapy bed versus a red light therapy pad. That pad's probably going to plug into like some USB thing, plug into your wall. Our bed does plug into the wall, but it delivers a lot more power and proximity as well. You're never going to get as close to light as possible with these little face masks, the little pads. You're always going to have some distance there.
I can imagine how much power you get from a USB port.
Exactly.
Daniel, a question for you. What's the one thing competition is doing right now that you think it's actually hurting their customers when it comes to the devices they make?
Man, I think the tanning industry is making some waves in the red light space, and I think they're just taking what they already have, which is a bunch of tanning beds, right? And then they're just repurposing that and turning into red light therapy beds. And so we see that a lot. And if you Google right now red light therapy beds, I bet you, the first few images you see, you're like, is that a tanning bed? And it looks like a tanning bed, but it's not, right? They just put some bulbs, they put some strip lights, and then just call it red light therapy, right? So I think people now expect that to be, what red light therapy actually is. And there's a lot of other devices out there. Obviously, we've got a really good, product, but there's some competitor of ours that, do some good work like we do. So we're just trying to, help people understand there's really the right way of building red light therapy devices.
Yeah, you mentioned the proximity and density of the diodes and all that stuff, right? All that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to a lady the other day, and she was laying on a red light therapy bed, and it was a flat bed, right? And I asked her, I said, "Hey, what was how'd you feel when you laid in that bed?" She's like, "I liked it, but it kind of hurt my back." And she's like, "I'm just laying on this bed, and it feels like I'm laying on my kitchen floor." Right. And, if you're laying on your kitchen floor, that's not ideal. Right. So with our bed, we've got that zero gravity design, right? The hips sit below the shoulders, your hips sit below your feet. So it feels like you're laying in a hammock. And that's really important for a lot of our clients, because a lot of our clients are, pain management centers, chiropractic facilities, right? And so their patients are 50, 60 years old. They just got done playing pickleball. They're sore, right? They don't want to lay on a bed that's not comfortable. So with our bed, I'd say that's another big difference, with our bed in terms of, like Kyla said, that medical grade, equipment that we provide, just having, something that is a lot more comfortable for the user.
Yeah. And I've been on your bed, and I can testify it just feels amazing. Like lying in there for like 15-20 minute session, it's really relaxing. And I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'3", and I'm like 280 pounds, and I have no problem laying in there. I can only imagine what it's to lay on a flat board for like 30 minutes. Probably my back is gonna feel like crazy.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like your product. Hopefully one day I can put one of these in my mansion when I get there.
Yes.
So what's the thing that people misunderstand the most when it comes to how the red light works? Is it, you mentioned the distance and the density. Is there something in the design that makes your bed, in the design of the diodes that makes your bed more superior to the competition?
Well, like Kyla was saying, we populate all of our circuit boards. So, we literally take the LEDs, get it dialed in on the circuit board. Then we throw it into what we'll just call an oven. It gets like up to like 400 degrees, and that solidifies all of those diodes. I want to say our diodes have like a 40,000 hour lifespan, right? So that'd be like you having the bed on 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Like that would last you for decades and decades and decades. So our diodes are really jam-packed. Diode density is that's where that term comes into play. We've got, over 28,000 diodes in our bed. So, I would say, a common misconception, or kind of where people get it wrong, is, hey, I got to use red light therapy every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, this company I just saw said I got to use it every day for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, if you get in front of a high quality red light therapy machine, you really only need to use that, 3, maybe 4 times a week, right? Because you got to get your body to have some time to release those toxins and drain, what the treatment from the red light therapy provides. So, if you get in front of a really good high powered, red light therapy device, 3-4 times a week, and you're good to go.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Is there such thing like, I'm not sure if you want to answer this or Daniel, but is there such thing like too much exposure to red light? Can you overdo it?
No, not in theory, but like Daniel spoke on, because you're using high quality powered LEDs, you want to give your body time to process everything. If you're just doing it every single day, there's no harm. But you're going to get the better results for pain management, for whatever reason you're using it, you're going to get better results if you give yourself at least 24 hours in between. You don't want to overload your system. Nothing bad will happen if you do. But again, I also feel like, as Daniel touched on, that a lot of companies are saying to do it every day because they know their stuff is lower quality, lower powered. So they think in their, to their logic that if you use it every day, it'll equate to something higher quality. And that's just never the case. It's like a new parent hoping they're going to catch up on sleep in a couple of months. That's not going to happen. but it's kind of the same concept. It's like, okay, we know our product isn't that great, so let's tell everyone to use it every day in hopes that they'll eventually achieve the results. We know that we're going to have the results with our product, but we also encourage others to wait 24 hours in between just to let your body do the work, because the red light is going to help your body start different processes, and you need your body time to rest and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can testify on new parents too.
Amen.
So obviously red light therapy is getting more and more popular, and more people seek that, but there is still businesses that add red light therapy to their portfolio and they still fail. Why is that?
I think it could be due to a lot of different things. I can't speak for every single business. A lot of it depends on like what is popular in your area, what your customers are asking for. I think sometimes businesses will go into it thinking that the red light will kind of sell itself, and they don't do any marketing. They don't have any push. They don't inform their clients. And that's one great thing that we offer for our clients is we don't just, say, okay, buy our bed and that's it. Absolutely not. We want to make sure that our clients have every single tool that they may ever need. So after that purchase, we supply with sales training, marketing materials, any type of education that our clients would need to pass on to their clients. We don't just leave them high and dry after we get their money. And I think that's something that a lot of other companies don't do as well. They just want the money and they're going to back right out after. That's definitely not our case. So I think most of the failure is tied to not having that strong, client to business relation that we do. And we just want to ensure that everyone is successful. I feel like a lot of other companies just care about the money.
That's awesome. Describe the process. Like, let's say, for example, I roll out to your business tomorrow and buy a red light bed.
Sure.
What does that look like? When am I going to get the bed? What am I going to get after when it comes to support and all that?
Sure. So our turnaround time varies based off of like how many orders there are. On average, I believe we're about 4-week turnaround time. And honestly, in my opinion, if you are buying a red light therapy bed and they say, oh, we have it in stock, oh, we can get it done in a day, don't do it. It's not quality craftsmanship. They probably had it manufactured in China or, whatever. Having stock is important, but I think having a better quality build machine is more important. And so after you purchase your bed, you're going to receive an email from us with shipping instruction. That's going to take the longest. But in the meantime, we go ahead and supply you with our sales training and marketing platform. From the marketing department, myself, I can supply your business with any customized marketing material that you may need, whether that's client information, banners for your business, anything and everything that you may need to promote to your clients. And then from there, we have our sales training platform, and that sales training platform will help you speak to your staff about how to use the red light therapy, how to administer red light therapy, how to talk to your clients to push them to maybe do that, because a lot of companies will buy our products as an add-on service, which is a great form of revenue in itself. We definitely have businesses that their whole thing is red light, but we definitely find that red light therapy hits better as an add-on service. So after you have all your sales training, you'll get your bed, and again, about 3, 5, or 4 to 5 weeks. And then from there, we're always on call. If you ever have any questions, we are right there. We do all of our own servicing. So you would just give us a call. We'll set up a service ticket. We can get a tech out, or maybe you can fix the issue yourself. But we never leave anyone high and dry. We always make sure that you're covered at every step.
Do I need a licensed technician to administer the
Nope,
treatment?
absolutely not. The great thing about all of our products is you don't need an additional tech at all. You don't need to hire additional staff. No consumables, absolutely nothing. You just plug in our bed and you're ready to go. All you'll really need to do is tell your client, hey, press the power button, massage button, and the timer, and you're good. You don't need to hire anyone.
Does the bed come assembled?
It does. It comes fully assembled in a crate. So when your bed gets to you, you'll have a crate, and you can opt for white glove delivery service, which is an additional cost. But at that point, they will go ahead and open the crate, plug in the machine for you, break down the crate, and take all of that out of your area. But yeah, it's easy and plug and play, fully assembled. You don't have to do anything at all except decide what room you want it in.
It's not like IKEA.
No, absolutely not like IKEA. But that would be funny though.
That's awesome. Daniel, what's the biggest difference in between red light bed manufacturer here in Las Vegas from your company, from your guys' company that you work for, and red light device bed from China?
I would say, if you're going to buy a red light bed from a company like ours, one, we're FDA registered and NRTL certified, right? So NRTL stands for Nationally Recognized Testing Lab. So think of it as you're buying a minivan for your kids, right? Like you want to make sure that it went through inspection. You want to make sure it's safe. The airbags go off, right? That way you get your kids in there. Like you just have a peace of mind. Same thing with our red light beds, right? They go through those inspections and they all get passed, right? That's the only way that we can actually provide the red light therapy to our clients. So our beds go through those hoops to make that happen. Like we literally have an auditor, a regulator come into our facility and check through every nook and cranny type of thing. If you buy a bed from Alibaba or Amazon, it's shipped from China or whatnot. Do you know if that bed went through inspections? Do you know if that bed got tested? Do you know if it, actually provides the, 50 milliwatt centimeter squared, whatever irradiance they're promoting? Does it actually provide that efficacy, right? And a lot of times the answer is no, you don't know. They're just making it up. So you definitely want to go with a company that actually has the FDA registration, the NRTL certification. That way you know what you're buying is legit.
Yeah, makes sense. What kind of warranty do you guys provide for?
We do a 5-year warranty. So we do it all in-house. Like Kyla was saying, a lot of our warranty work is just really super small, where it's, one of the funny stories is we actually went out to a client. We're in Vegas, right? That's where we make all of our beds. We had a client in Tucson. We flew out to Arizona. We're thinking that it's, something technical and it requires us to be there in person. Well, we moved the bed and turns out the bed just wasn't plugged in the right way. So it'd be like that sometimes, right? So we try to figure stuff out, FaceTime first, like, hey, let's FaceTime this together. And maybe we just need to ship you out this small piece of, equipment that's going to solve it, right? But we do have the manpower to come out, fly to you, and because here's the thing, we don't want downtime, right? You don't want downtime. We don't want downtime. We need that machine up and running, making money. So if we've got to fly out, we do that. And, we're a family-run business, been around for about 20 years. So it's not like we outsource the warranty somewhere else. We cover the warranty ourselves.
Yeah. Versus if you buy from China, probably you're not going to expect somebody to fly from China.
Yeah.
To fix to plug in your bed.
Maybe a WhatsApp message.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Realistically, if somebody is a clinic owner and is watching this right now, realistically, what would you say it's the time for that bed to kind of start generating some return on investment?
Yeah, so I sold the bed to a client out in Ohio, and I think we just shipped out the bed to him this past week, but he started collecting revenue, within a week or two of buying the bed, right? He was selling memberships. So he started pre-selling it. He's obviously offering a discount to kind of get them to pre-enroll, right?
Yeah.
So that's the great thing, is start asking your patients, your clients, like, hey, by the way, what do you think about red light therapy? And chances are they're probably already listening to Joe Rogan and they're digging red light therapy, or they're already doing red light therapy somewhere else and they're just paying a different provider when you could offer red light therapy to your clients and they could be paying you instead, right? So now it just becomes a stickier, more profitable client.
Yeah. What kind of businesses ideally would benefit from a red light bed?
Yeah, I mean, so the client in Ohio I was telling you about, he's a dentist. And I straight up asked him, I was like, dude, like I think of a dentist as like, I've got this cavity, right? Like red light dentist, photobiomodulation is taken off in the dentist of the dentist world. It's probably the wrong term, but a lot of dentists are gravitating towards that. And his answer to me was, look, I do overall wellness stuff. Like your teeth is a byproduct of what you put in your body, right? Like what you eat, how you exercise, like all that still affects your overall health, which impacts your teeth. And he's like, I just want to offer something as a way to differentiate myself from my competitors, other practitioners, right? So, think of chiropractors, wellness spas, med spas, gyms, fitness centers, physical therapy, right? So, anything wellness, you definitely have a niche for possibly doing red light therapy.
That's awesome. If somebody is hesitant about the cost of your devices, what would you tell them?
I would say, hey, look, think about it from a perspective of ROI, right? Return on investment, where, we've got clients, bring up the Aria, Bellagio, we're in Four Seasons, right? Like we're in some legitimate world-class organizations and, they're crushing, right? Whether it's 15, 20K a month. We've got clients in California that are doing 20,000 a month. We've got clients in New Mexico. I got a client in New Mexico. He does memberships. So just residual monthly memberships. I want to say he's about $150 or $200 a month in memberships. He's doing like 15, 20K a month. So, one bed, has the opportunity to bring in, $8, $10, $15,000 a month. And maybe you are in a small town in Tennessee or in, Oklahoma. Obviously the examples I'm giving you might be a little bit different, but shoot, if you're bringing in $6,000, $7,000 a month, right? There's an extra 70, 80K a year in revenue, right? So it's like, hey, if our device was $60,000, that might be a tough pill to swallow today, but you're in business not for today. You're in business for, you're planting seeds to reap the rewards from your labor, right? So it's like, shoot, if you could make, $300,000, $400,000 over 4, 5, 6 years, and it took you $60,000 to do that, you might consider, you might consider it, of a different perspective.
Do you guys offer any payment plans or any financing or anything like that?
Yeah. So, since we're the manufacturer, right, cash is king, right? So, anytime that we're talking to someone with cash, right, there's always some opportunities to figure out what we can do there to make it a little bit more flexible for them. We do work with some equipment lenders, so we do have that opportunity as well. We did just partner up with a leasing company. So essentially think of like try before you buy, or where you can get that device in your practice, in your facility, and you didn't have to come up with a bunch of cash or a loan from the bank. It's just an agreement between you and the equipment leasing company, right? So you're renting the bed, right? So that's another option as well. So we've got a few different channels that you could explore.
That's awesome. Kyla, what's the difference in terms of quality? And what's the thing that, let's say, regular people don't just see behind the scenes when it comes to manufactured here or manufactured overseas?
Sure. So I think Daniel definitely touched on this quite a bit, but if you're getting a bed from overseas or just somewhere else, how can you ensure that it's been tested? How can you ensure that it sticks to all of these strict guidelines that we follow when we build our bed, right? Anybody online can post anything online and they can say that their product has these and these specs, but you don't know that for sure. You're kind of going in blind. And the thing about us is we do all the NRTL certification. We're working towards FDA. We're doing all of these things to ensure that every single spec and little measurement that you see that we provide is true and accurate. And there's literally no other way for that to be ensured unless you take those proper steps. A lot of companies out there let's say, for example, advertise a certain irradiance, right? But if you measure that irradiance with a little spectrometer, it's not going to be what they advertise. And we're not one of those companies. We say we're at a certain milliwatt centimeter squared, and we mean it because it's been tested. It's been proved by several different companies. And you really, if you're investing all of this money, I would just like to think and hope that you want to make sure you're investing it in a smart purchase and not just something that could potentially be, $10,000 to $20,000 less just to save a buck. Why not spend more, get quality, and get something that's going to help with your ROI and your bottom line?
Yeah, especially if you're a business, you don't wanna, you don't wanna be a business. And let's say, for example, I'm in the business of video production, and I'd rather film with a $5,000 camera than a flip phone.
Right, exactly. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. From marketing perspective, what gets your clients the most results? Is it like offering packages or free sessions, or what do you think it's working the most to?
It really depends. Like I said, a lot of clients do this as an add-on service, and Daniel touched on his dentist red light, which I didn't even know about. That's very interesting. But no, I think add-on services is where it's at. I think you can add on to your existing package. You don't have to restructure everything. And with those add-ons, you can tack on to their monthly services or their package services or however you want to structure it. But add-on is definitely where it's at. And I think that's where most of our clients are getting all of their ROI from, is that add-on service. Certainly, like I mentioned before, we have companies that just do red light, and that's great. And, if that works, that works. But I definitely think it's add-on because that means so many other types of businesses like chiropractors, day spas, gyms, wellness centers, they can add in red light. There are a lot of companies like a dentist, for example, wouldn't make sense to have red light if that's all they were doing, right? But it's an add-on thing. And I think that's really where it shines, is as an add-on.
That makes sense. I also see all over internet the guy from Shark Tank, Damon, he's endorsing your bed quite often on his stories. Do you guys have a private people who purchase your bed as well, or you mostly focused on businesses?
Mostly businesses. We've definitely had a couple of private sales before, and definitely intend to do it again. But for now, we're definitely more businesses. But shout out to Damon John. He really loves our product. One of his close friends, Chauncey, also has our bed. And I know that Damon John goes over there to use it a lot. So that's been really cool to see. Definitely hope for more things like that in the future. But for right now, we have mainly businesses.
That's awesome. What's something that someone who's never used or tried a red light bed before, what they should expect? What does it feel like? Does it burn or feel weird or anything like that?
Sure. So the great thing about our bed is had that zero gravity design, right? So it's easy in, easy out. A lot of the beds out there, if it's not a flat bed, it's a clamshell design. So it's like a tanning bed. And if you've ever been on a tanning bed, it's like kind of okay to get in, but to get out, it's a trip, right? So with our zero gravity design, it's easy for everybody to get in and out of, whether you're perfectly healthy, disabled, anything like that, especially with our low entry point. It is actually technically ADA compliant as well with our low entry point, and that zero gravity. So at any rate, with our bed, it'll get a little warm after a while after your session. But I always describe using our bed as a warm hug, because that's really what it is. We also have vibrational frequency in our bed as well. And this is the oxygenation frequency. And what that does is oxygenates your blood. And for me, at least, it gives me more energy. So you'll definitely get like a little pep in your step. Honestly, I prefer it over a cup of coffee. But you're going to just get in the bed, lay back and enjoy. You'll honestly probably fall asleep. I think all three of us can attest to having done that at least once using the bed.
Yes.
But it's very comfortable, very easy to use. Very, again, easy to get in and out of. And also the way we have it designed is we eliminate the claustrophobic feel that one would feel in like a clamshell design.
Yeah.
Because we have the open-ended at your feet and then open-ended at your head. And I've met a lot of people that do say that they're claustrophobic, but they use their bed and they don't have like that sense of like they're feeling trapped because there is all of that open air around them.
That's awesome. And another question for you:
Mhm.
why can't I just buy one of these red lights for chickens and and use that
Because you're
instead?
not a chicken. We are humans.
What's the difference in between that type of red light and the red light you guys provide?
Sure. So that type of red light is just a single light bulb. And the best comparison I can provide is like a panel device. A lot of these panel devices out there, they mount onto your wall and they tell you to stand 6 to 12 inches away. And the main thing to understand about red light therapy is it dissipates extremely quickly. So if you envision a red light like a pressure washer, at the tip of the pressure washer, that's where the water is the most intense. But the further you go out, the weaker the stream is. And red light is the same way. So with our bed, you're as close to light as possible, meaning you're getting the strongest doses possible. So with a panel device or a chicken light, as we want to call it, you're standing far away and it's essentially wasting your time, wasting your energy bill.
Yeah.
It's just really not worth it.
I can catch from a neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel, you guys provide red light beds, obviously, but do you have any other devices that you provide for different type of consumers? Or
Yeah, so I would say our flagship is the Ovation ULT, right? That's probably, if you go to our Instagram page or our website, you'll probably see that predominantly, right? That's the same bed that's at like, the Four Seasons and, Bellagio and the Aria, right? But we do have a flat bed where there's no canopy, right? So in order to get the treatment, you've got to flip over, right? It's not ideal and it's a flatbed, right? So we're going to be transparent. It's not as comfortable as the Ovation, but it's only $30,000, right? So maybe you've got a budget and you still want the high quality circuit boards and the high quality LEDs that, and you still want our technology. Great. The flatbed that we have could check off a lot of boxes. And then we've got some panel systems that, are on wheels, so it can move around. It's very, very convenient. So this is great for, think of like estheticians, spas, right? Like if someone's getting, a pedicure, and they want to get some red light just on their face, right? We've got some pretty economical, panel systems that allow very, very close proximity. And again, it's same technology, same circuit board, same diode. So still our same technology, but just a smaller version. And then we've got a foot revitalizer. Again, same technology, and it's just getting the bottom of the feet, because no red light bed out in the market is going to get the bottom of your feet, right? So we do have a foot revitalizer product, and that's great for people that have like maybe foot neuropathy, and they got feet that they're very sore, that they're on their feet all day long, and they want some red light therapy there. So that's a great way to do it too.
that's
We also
awesome.
have the Premier RLT.
Yeah, so that's if you're like 6'8", right? So you just need to grow taller. I mean, yeah, the Premier is 8 inches taller.
Oh, okay.
So the Ovation is great if you're like you're 6'3", right? So it's like once you're like 6'4", 6'5", and get a little tight. So if you're listening, and if you've got a business and you've got athletes, for example, and they're 6'6" and above, you probably want the Premier.
Yeah, all the NBA players, listen up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We were just recently at the iSpa show, and there was an ex-basketball player that was like looking at our bed, and he was with somebody, and the person that he was with decided to try the bed, but he looked at it. He's like, I'm not gonna fit. So we were like, I wish we had the Premier for you.
Yeah. Well, definitely somebody, if you're in that range, you can definitely
Yes.
purchase the Premier. So it's good that you guys have options. And earlier you mentioned NASA. Can you tell me a little bit more about this story before we can close up the podcast? Why did NASA started using red light, and how did they came up to it?
Sure. So, from my understanding, NASA discovered the power of red light when they were in space, using that red light to, I believe, grow plants. Am I right, Daniel? I think that's what we've heard.
Yeah, I think that's what I've read.
Yeah.
Too.
So, once they discovered that the plants were thriving with the red light, they decided, hey, this could be, great for other things. Let's explore that. So from there, red light therapy technology was born. Light therapy has been around for centuries, honestly. So I'm sure that red light had maybe been touched on previously, but NASA was really the first to commercialize it and bring it to the population and the people, just by being in space trying to grow some plants.
Awesome. That's amazing. I can definitely testify. I've been in the bed, and one of the perks with the job, every time I go to your
Yes.
factory to film, I try to squeeze in a session right after that. So
Absolutely. I definitely recall encouraging you to do so every time.
It feels amazing, yes. And to close up, Daniel, if someone is on the fence about buying one of your red light devices, what would you tell them?
And I would say, really investigate maybe the 3 or 4 companies you're looking at, right? And just spend some time checking out their website, checking out their social media, and really just understanding, who they are and what they're about. I'd say that's one thing about us is we're just an open book, right? It's, hey, come see our production facility, come see how we make a bed, come see what the components look like. And really just share everything, right? Here's our FDA registration number, here's our NRTL certification document, right? Because it's a big decision, right? It's a big purchase, and you really want to make sure that you make the right decision, right? So really investigate the different companies that you're looking at. It's like buying a car, right? Like you want to look at everything about this
Go
car.
test drive it.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
exactly. And we always tell people, hey, if you want to come out and come to Vegas, we'll cover your first night's hotel stay and your airfare ticket, when you come out and see us, because we just want to be an open book to people.
That's awesome. Can I, and something I wanted to touch base earlier, but I kind of forgot. Can I, if I'm on the market for a red light bed, and you guys keep mentioning the irradiance is so important when it comes to these devices,
Mhm.
can I go in and measure that irradiance myself when I'm shopping around? Is
Yeah.
there a device that I can buy and do that myself, like easily?
Yeah. So there's one on Amazon. There's a couple on Amazon that are pretty good. I mean, they're not cheap, right? So they're about $200, between $150 and $300, give or take, because you want one that's like calibrated and is legitimate, right? But yeah, I mean, if you really want to get nerdy and geek out, you can go scoop one of those up and then go around town and measure the irradiance yourself and see those numbers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, any closing words? Anything I didn't ask you that you guys want to share?
Oh, I think that about covers it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending this 40 minutes with me today to talk about your amazing device. And I hope more people learn about red light therapy and what you guys do here in Las Vegas. Support the U.S. economy by buying from a local manufacturer. Family-owned business. Kyla, actually, you're the daughter of the owner, and it's amazing that you guys building this business together. Daniel, thank you so much for your time, guys, and I'll see you next time in the factory.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
Ivan.
Thank you.